Hi, welcome back to your fifth session for Android user interface development. So in the last session, we had studied about linear layout, how a linear layout works, what are the various orientations that can be used in a linear layout, and how we align the various views in those orientations. Then we had learned something about margin and padding. So what is the basic difference of margin and padding? And when do we use margin, when do we use padding, and how to set margin and padding through code. And then we had discussed some advanced properties for various views like edit text, like image view, like button, etc. So in this session, the fifth session, we'll study about one more property for the linear layout, which is called gravity. And we'll design a proper login page using all the elements that we have till now. So let's move on to the first slide here. So this is gravity. So if we just read the definition, gravity is the way to align a view or content on the basis of its parent. So this basically means that if you want to align the content inside a view according to the parent, which is the outside view. So if you want to align the text written inside the view according to the alignment of the view itself. So there are two types of gravities basically. So the first is in which we set the content of the view. So the content that is written inside the view, we set the alignment using this property. So it can be either left, right, or top or bottom. So the second type of gravity is in which you align the view according to the parent. So in that we just align the view according to the parent view. So there are two types of gravities here. The first type of gravity, we align the content inside the view, and in the other gravity we align the view with the parent view. So if we see this diagram here, so here we have a view and here we have assigned the gravity property as left. So here you can see gravity is equal to left, that means the property value is left. So this is aligned to the top left. So by default in XML, any view any view is actually aligned as top left by default. So for that case, it doesn't really matter if you define gravity or not, because the default value is taken as top left only. So if you see this second view here, the view is in green and the parent view is in yellow and the content is in black, which is written inside the green view. So if you see the green view, and here we have written Android gravity right. So if you notice that the hello text is aligned towards the right side of the view. So the reason being that we have defined the gravity value as right, so that is why the content is now on the right side. So now this value will define the content alignment inside the view. And if you apply this gravity equal to right value to the whole parent view, then all the views inside will be aligned towards the right only. So if you see this third example here, this third view here, so here if you notice that the view and the content inside the view are both aligned towards the right of the parent. So the parent is the yellow, so yellow area here. So both the content inside the view and the view itself are aligned towards the right. So this was the value that we had used here for aligning the content, gravity equal to right. And for aligning the view, the green box here to towards right, we've used layout underscore gravity property. So layout underscore gravity property is used for aligning your view. So basically here we have used the right value, so that is why the green box has been aligned towards the right side of its parent, that is the yellow box. So just to sum up, we need to define gravity in order to align the view with its on the basis of its parent view. So we've aligned the view. By default the view is aligned at the top left, and we can align the content inside the view by using gravity property, and we can align the view itself by using layout underscore gravity property. So we'll see this. Let's take an example. Let's go to Android Studio and let's see this in live mode, how it actually happens. So this was the example and the views that we did last time. So let's remove them for now and just keep the linear layout. So let's add an image view here. Image view, and let's define a static height as 100 dp and height also as 100 dp. So we'll create 2-3 views here and then use gravity to align and see how they work. So let's add an image here. So let's pick up an image from the mipmap folder, and let's pick up the first image only, the icon launcher, the default icon launcher for Android. And then let's assign a background value also to this, and let's see if here we have, let's pick up the color accent only. So we have defined the background also, and we have picked up the image also for the image view. So if we just copy the same image view here and let's create 5 image views and then try to align them. So here are the 5 image views aligned vertically because the orientation is defined as vertical here. So first let's just define a margin here for this view so that there is some differentiation. Layout margin as, let's say, 8 dp, and the same goes for this view here. Let's define margin as 8 dp. So now as you can see that the second and the fourth view have moved shifted towards right a little because of the margin that we have applied to them. So now let's give this view, the second view, some gravity. So if we just put in gravity as in define gravity, so here we are using the gravity property, and there are many options here: bottom, center, horizontal, vertical, end. So we'll talk about them a little later. So currently let's put it as center. So as soon as we define the value as center for gravity, layout underscore gravity, the view has moved to the center. So if we apply the same gravity value, gravity property, sorry, to this, to the third view here. So that will be, let's give it a value as end. So the view has shifted right till the end. So as you can see that the second view is center aligned, and the image view, the third image view, is aligned towards the end. So if we set some value to this image view also, so here we have set different values to different image views, and now you can see how they are aligned according to the value given to the gravity. So as we told you earlier that the default image view, the default gravity that is taken is the top left for the first view, and the rest of the views that follow will take on the left side gravity. So we don't need to define the left side gravity, but if we want to change the gravity from left to center, end, or right, then we need to do so. So this was about the layout underscore gravity property. So if we change the image view here to a text view, so then let's work with a text view. So here is a text view, and as we know that text view doesn't require any image, so we can remove this source, and we can define the property of the text view for the text that needs to be entered inside. So that is text, and we can write the text as hello. We need to define the size also for the text, which is text size, and let's define it as 10. Let's say 20 SP. I think 20 is a little less, so let's define it as 30 only. So now it is quite big, and here you can see the text hello. So if we talk about the relation, the content inside the pink view, that is the text view, that is the text view is the parent, the pink view is the parent, and the content inside is following the text view, which is its parent view. But if we talk about the pink view parent is the white view outside. So the white view is the parent for the pink view, and the content hello is the child for the pink view, or the pink view is the parent for the hello text. Because we have taken the linear layout at the top, which is the main root node. So if we talk about the text view here, now this is the text which is aligned towards the top left according to the view. So if we want to change the gravity for the text, so then we need to define the gravity here, which will be normal gravity, and the value could be center, end, or bottom, or right. So as soon as I give this value right, you see the text has moved towards the right of the view. So that is because we have defined the gravity value for the text. So this gravity, the gravity, Android gravity equal to right, will give the alignment to the text, while this gravity, the layout underscore gravity equal to center, will give the alignment for the view that is containing the text. So if I change this value to bottom, the text has moved to the bottom left side, and if I give the value as bottom right, then the text has changed, the alignment of the text has changed towards the bottom right side of the view. So this was about the basic gravities that we had seen. So now let's see what will happen if we supply the gravity to the main linear layout. So here we supply the value, here we define the property as gravity, and let's keep the value here as center. So if you see here, all the views have been aligned towards the center except for this one. So the reason being, actually if you notice, the second and the fourth view are already, the gravity was already as defined as center. So that is why there is no change in these two views. But the top left and the bottom left, they were by default aligned towards the left side of the screen. So given the linear layout the gravity value as center, that defined the value for the orientation, the positioning and the alignment for these views towards the center, the first view and the last view also. So, but if we define individually gravity for each view, let's suppose this is the first view, and here we define the gravity as layout gravity and towards the left, and for the same thing for the last view, we define layout gravity as left. So having provided them with a value itself will give them their own alignment. But if we do not supply them with any gravity value or property, then they'll take on the value that is given to the linear layout itself. So that is the basic difference between supplying a value to linear layout on outside of the views and to the individual view itself. But here if you notice, by doing this, the view at the top and the bottom, it has started to intersect with the top bar here and the bottom bar. So the reason is that because we have supplied the gravity for the main outside parent view also and for each individual view also. So if we remove this, so now you can see that it is not intersecting with the top bar. So this is the basic issue. The reason why it was intersecting with the top bar was because we had supplied the linear layout with a gravity value, and also we had given the individual view, the top and the bottom view, the gravity value also. So this was about the linear layout and the gravity, how to assign the gravity to each view, to the main linear layout view or to the sub views like your image view, text view, etc. So after studying this, we'll try to create a login page. So if we go back to our presentation here, so this is the exercise to design a login screen using linear layout. So here we have certain elements for the login screen. The first one is the profile. So this is the exercise that we are going to do. So it is to design a login screen using linear layout. So this is our screen where we have 4 elements. The first element is the profile picture, then the username field, and then the password field, and then a login button. So the profile picture field will be an image view. The username and password fields will be edit text view, and the login will be a button. So to design this, let's go back to the Android Studio. So we've removed all the unnecessary views that we had created earlier, and we have just kept one view, which is the image view. And let's add a few more views. So let's take an edit text view. Here let's define the width as match parent, and here the height, let's define it as wrap content, and let's also put in a hint in order to see what we're going to type in here. Let's type it as username. So that is the hint here. And let's copy this edit text view and let's use another edit text here, and the hint will be password. So also one thing that I would like to tell you is it is a very it is not concerning any coding as such, but let's suppose that your code is not aligned properly. For example, this is not aligned properly. So what you can do is there is a shortcut in which will help you to align the code, which is Alt Control and L. So this is how your code will get realigned, which is in the proper format. So then coming back to our exercise, then we need to add a button. So and width we can keep it as match parent and wrap content, and text we can set here as login. So now we've added all the elements that UI elements that we require according to our exercise. But if we compare this to our actual page that we need to design, then we see that the alignments of the views in this page are different to what they are currently right here. Also there is proper padding, proper margin between the views and the text. So we need to add those in our view here. So firstly what we need to do is we need to add the gravity to the linear layout, and the gravity needs to be center. So this image is not aligned in the center because we have defined the gravity for this image view separately. So if we remove this, then this image will become in the center. And if we set some padding, define some padding to the linear layout around, let's say 24 dp, then here we'll have we'll see an appropriate amount of padding from the sides of the screen, which looks more realistic or more according to what we see in normal apps. So, but if you still see that the spacing between the views is not proper, so accordingly to our exercise design, here we have the profile picture, and the spacing between the profile picture and the username field is more, and username and password field is less, and the password field and the button is more. So if we go to the Android Studio, and now we need to define the let's define the margins here. So here we can just margin as margin top, margin top, and the value is around, let's say, 30 dp. So now you can see the spacing between the profile picture and the username field has increased considerably. And if we define the margin bottom of the username field around 16 dp, so the spacing between username and password field has increased, but not so much as the profile picture and the username. So the reason is that the margin top of the username field is greater to the margin bottom. And similarly for the password field and the button, we need to set a margin. Let's set a margin bottom of around 25 dp. So here we can see that the spacing between the button and the password field has also increased. So if we compare this to our exercise design screen, now it looks something like this, with proper spacing and proper margins from the sides and proper spacing between the views. So if we want to set the background for this edit text, so let's see how to do that. But before we do that, we should run this application and see it how it will look on the actual mobile screen. So this is how the code will look on the actual mobile screen. So we can actually see the amount of spacing and amount of padding that we have given on the actual screen size, and accordingly if we need to adjust them, then we can define the values accordingly. So by default the background, as you can see, is white here, and now we can supply it with a different background and see the color changing. So whatever the accent color that you have given, that will be the color for the background. Also, if you notice here that whatever this line is pink and the cursor is pink, because we have given the accent color to the image view here, so that is why it's taking on the default color for this. Also, if you notice here that if we type in the password field, it is showing, which is wrong according to the security concerns for the password field. So for the password we need to supply the input type value as password, password. So now let's see if the password field has been applied as secure or not. Yes. So now if you can see, the password is now being hidden as soon as we type it. Here there is another property that I would like to introduce to you. So suppose we are typing here and we are clicking on the enter button. So if you see this, that this is the enter button will introduce a new line and this will keep on continuing, which is not correct in the case of username or a name field. So how to avoid this? So let's see what we can do to avoid this. So in this edit text for the username, we need to add a property called single line property and set the value as true, and then we run this again on the simulator and see if this, now if you notice that the enter button has gone and this arrow button has taken its place. So this arrow button indicates the next field. So as soon as we click on the arrow button, it will go to the next field in the form and it will not create multiple lines in a single field. And if if this field here is the last view, then the icon here changes to the tick mark sign indicating that this is the last view and this is the OK button. So this is how you can resign the keyboard as well. So now let's set the background color for the edit text views here, and for that we need to we can set the background by background color and defining it by, let's define it by primary. So as soon as I introduce the background color, you notice that the size of the height of the view has reduced. So the reason is that we are using the width and height as match parent and wrap content. So we need to provide a static or a fixed width height in order for the view to have appropriate height and width. So here we can instead of using wrap content, we can define the height as 40 dB, which is the standard height, and same thing can be done here with the password field as well, and we can supply the height as 40 dB again, which is the standard height. So here if you notice, if I zoom in, that everything is looking okay except for the username and password. So the username and password hints are actually literally joined with the edge here on the left side. So we need to put some padding. So how to do that? By using the padding property. So here if we use padding start and let's say 10 dp. So now the username text has there is a space between the edge of the box and the username text. So that is why we need to use the padding. So here is it's showing an error here. It says that to support older versions than API 17, so project specifies 15. You should also add Android padding left 10 dB. So what it means is basically that our project was for 15, API 15, and in order to support API 17 projects, the API 17 software, we need to specify padding left also. The reason being that it was only after 17 that the project the padding start property came into existence. So before that they used to have the padding left property. So that is why it's asking to supply the property left also. So we can just use left here, property left 10, which will mean the same thing, and the error is gone now. So we can do this for the password field as well. So here the padding is there of 10 dp, and both of the username and password fields are aligned properly now. We can change the color of the button as well, and so the button color has changed, and the height can be fixed 40 dp, which is the standard height that we are using. So here, if you want to give the space between the profile picture and the username field, so you can add the margin top here as 30, so you can increase it to, let's say, 60. So now the profile picture has, the spacing between the profile picture and the username field has increased now. So this was all about how to introduce elements, how to use gravity, how to use padding, and what are the various properties that can be used for typing. Like we used single line property here, and we used the input type property here for password field. So this was all about the UI elements and how to create a form page using these UI elements. So summarizing up whatever we did today, so we did an exercise in introducing views. They were the image view, the two edit text views. One was the username and password, and then third was the button. Then we provided the gravity to the linear layout as center, so that all the views here, image view, edit text view, and button, are aligned in the center. And we learned about the gravities. The various type of gravities are there. One is for the alignment of the content inside the view, and one is for the view itself, to align it with the main view. So then here we also added the background color, and we supplied the button also with the background color. And also we studied about we also added the padding to the linear layout, so that all the views inside this linear layout have equal padding and the alignment is equal. So in the next video we will we'll learn something more about the linear layout, create another form using it, and also some of the extended properties that are there that can be used with linear layout. So till then, thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, do write into us. Thank you.